I've been on the wrong side of life, so I know the wrong side is right. For when fear became my life, you came and changed my life. Patiently, as bad as I was, yeah, he stayed with me.
This is an RFMCE
My
production. Reginald. Doom, 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 doom. Down. This is my hometown. Reflecting on the younger years. Believe it or not, this was a community of comedians. This is nothing but my very own hometown, Hewitttown, Alabama, Hewitttown Manor. You know, we actually grew up right next door to to the legendary 240, who lived in that house right there for a period of time. He was known for saying telling some white boys when he was coming from the store with some bread. They said, "Where you going with that bread, boy?" 240 said, "I'm finna go feed it to your mom." Woo. But anyway, somebody help me. But I used to run these very streets from the age of 5 years old. Uh, I'm talking about. I can remember some stories, boy. I remember somebody left an abandoned car right there. That was the first time I ever heard "Please Hammer, don't hurt 'em." Put on the hammer, and you will echoes throughout my mind as I remember Kevin Street. And this is the very pathway that we used to take. And my mama cleared an area in the woods and put some rides out here and some tie swings and this was where you would come in and there would be a sign. Well, it's blocked off now, but you would go in right there and there would be a sign on that tree right there that says Kevin Street. And every 6 weeks, my mom would put a kid in his head, and I've seen his hair evolve over the years. From Gary Coleman, what you talking about, Willis? Talking about Willis to Lionel Richie. I wanna follow your star wherever it leads me. I don't mind, Lord. To Billy Ocean, Caribbean Queen. But you know, Michael Evans, the day he joined the Warlords, and to Robert Velma, I mean Vanessa boyfriend on the first Bill Cosby. But anyway, just straight black, like one of them Indians with the red. Welcome to the 7-Eleven. May I help you? One more thing, no more. We don't have any more Ike and Mike. And even his clothes, you never knew what he would come over the horizon looking like. Whether it would be Mr. Farley, the landlord off of Three's Covenant, come and knock on my door. Seven Slim Slacks. We've been waiting for you with a vest to match. From John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever. I mean, Vanessa boyfriend on the first Bill Cosby. But anyway, I had a very awesome childhood. I had an incredible childhood, probably because I had an incredible brother. My brother was quite extraordinary, quite the genius child, and in his own world, oftentimes. And and in that world, there was no violence. And it's something how we can be pushed in the corner and be forced to have to come out fighting. But sometimes I guess it brings out the very best in them. I would hear him sometimes repeat something that he said to himself, as though he was reviewing the transcripts of a previous conversation. And he'd make up these songs, like one called Tomatoes, Tomatoes, Tomatoes. But anyway, he named my left foot Johnny and my right foot Craig. He had a very unusual way of looking at things. My grandma said, "I'm going to whoop you." And he said, "Oh, you got a belt. What color is it?" I asked him, I said, "Where you think them people come from?" He said, "China." I said, how you think cartoons feel?" He said, "Soft." My brother, was something else as he come over the horizon, dressed in whatever my mama put him on. And the only way you would ever see these kind of clothes was on him. I'm talking about leisure suit, looking like John Travolta on Saturday Night Fever, coming over the horizon, looking like he's supposed to have bionics. But like Jamie Summers, she was a school teacher, but she had bionics. But anyway, you know, with the bell bottoms flapping in the wind and looking like some champagne glasses, and some shoes so soft that he looked like a tap dance on light bread. If somebody put water on it, he'll fall though. Then everybody used to couldn't wait for him to get there so they can see what he was wearing next. Anyway, so my brother would be made to be in part of an interrogation, and like if I come home high, and I try to get past my mama, and she'd be like, Reginald, and I'd be like, oh Lord, and she'd be like, come here, what's wrong with your eyes? And I was like, ain't nothing wrong with them. And she said, it is something wrong with your eyes. And then she'll call my brother and them. She said, Kevin, look at his eyes. Ain't something wrong with his eyes, Kevin. And my brother be like, yeah. I knew it was something wrong with his eye. That's why he going to stay with his big nose daddy. And you know, with his drug addict, you gonna get your drug addict, but out of my house, nigga. And it's like, and I'm sitting there trying my best not to look high. But it's something about the presence of a mama, boy. It just intensify everything. Like now I'm blowed. You know, I mean, whew, I can't even hardly stand up. Get out of my face. I knew something was wrong with his eye. Why is your eyes red and glazed over and darting back and forth, Reginald? And I'm like, I'm tired. Well, tired of what? You ain't working nowhere. You need to get off your high horse and go down there and tell them folks you wanna work at Burger King. You know, I told y'all this ain't no resting house. But I knew something was wrong with his eyes. Ain't some what's wrong with your eyes, Reginald? And so she would ask, you know, and so he would be made to be a part of the interrogation. But I would never forget. We went swimming. And he was and neither one of us could swim. I think we had went to Point Mallard, and my mama said, y'all go up the slide. And I didn't want to go, he didn't want to go, but we went. And so when we went, you know, he didn't start crying till he got away from our mama. And he was like, I don't want to go down this slide. And he started off real low. And it got louder and louder. And he was like, I don't want to go down this slide. And so we went up this thing. It was like the Trail of Tears, like some Indians being drove off their land. That was a long walk up the hill, boy. And everybody flying to get by. They excited. We don't know why. 'Cause I guess they can swim. But so when we got up there, so my brother crying all the way, I don't want to go down and slide. And so I said, Kevin, it's gonna be okay. And I'm worried too. So we don't know how deep the water is at the bottom because we don't know which one we got on. And I was, man, and so my brother was on. They set us on these blue mats, so he was on his mat, and so he went in front of me, and he was sticking to the wall. And so my mom, she ran a tight shift, and she didn't play, about being at home when she get off work in the morning, after having worked all night and got to take us to school because we done missed the bus. And so we we determined it not to be there, when she got there, by any means necessary, you know. And so when we missed the bus one time, he was in agreement with walking because because he didn't want to be there when she got there either, because the consequences of that, boy, could be getting hit upside the head with a box of salt. But anyway, so I said, man, we gonna walk? Yes, he said, yeah. Well, my brother was very terrified of whippings, and I mean, you would see his legs shake like Shaggy whenever he would be finna get a whipping, boy. I'm talking about, and it would have my mama laughing. So we got a little break in there every now and then, thanks to his legs. And he used to sit back on them, like he was on some skis or something, like a flexi thing. It would look like they gonna break, like he's standing on some chopsticks or something, But and I said, boy, he looked like he'll get tangled up in some kudzu, but like he got a prosthetic, that it's that prosthetic part but it's from the ankle down, but this the whole thing. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing, but literally, but them two bones you got to separate on the flats. You know what I'm saying? That's for the women. We ain't got time for all that. But it give us a drum. Let me get all drums. But anyway, so those was his legs, and so they would shake whenever we was getting a whipping. And so we was walking to school, and I'm talking about it was so cold out there, man. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about my brother Jerry Curl was froze. I'm talking about to the point that if you put the camera in his head, it'll look like we riding on the back of a woolly mammoth. You know, like the movie Frozen. You know, like that mean, cruel old wicked witch them froze everything. But you know, and I'm talking about I felt so bad for him because I know that I know because I thought Activator was antifreeze until that day, and I saw that it do yeah because I saw some polar ice caps form, you know, but you know down his neck, you know, where as the Activator ran down and he was crying every time the wind blew. Reginald, it's cold out here. And I'm like, I know, Kevin. Just a little bit further. And I thought we was on the movie Stand By Me. You know, we was on the railroad track. And boy, it was just one of them real cold mornings, man. I'm talking about. And the snot in his nose was froze. But Reginald, it's cold. But we made it to school that day. But anyway. And so, to make a long story short, I'm trying to stop all that extra talking and get straight to the point. But and so, but he was quite an unusual fellow, but extraordinary, you know, in a good way. And he was a cool. He had an unusual appetite, which consisted of sugar sandwiches, and which you could hear the crunch of every granule, and the back and it would pour out the back of the bread like sand. But it used to irritate me to hear that crunching sound when he used to eating them sugar sandwiches and he be having sugar stuck to his lips and crunch, crunch, you know. And every time he raised the sandwich up to take a bite, I guess he didn't have it built right, you know, cause that sand used to pour out the back like some sand. But best thing for him to had done was just have another piece of light bread right there waiting on where it's pouring out it, and then he can make another sound. So, but he when we go out to eat, I mean, we would go to these all you can eat places and like Quincy's, and he'd sit there and eat about 20 packs of ketchup. And by number 20, he'd be full, you know. But he used to bite it, and you could hear it going down his throat. Oh, but I like, well, I don't know how he. And Jello, he would eat Jello, and then you know, but vegetables, oh man, you couldn't make that man eat a vegetable. It's you know, something about vegetation that he just didn't like the sight of, and he would sit there and pick everything out of it before he got ready to eat. You know, he had a little pile of vegetables right there that he'd have picked out. But I said, man, he must have had a terrible dream that a piece of broccoli was chasing him or something. I don't know what it was, but everybody got a phobia. You know, usually real big heavy set people be afraid of mice. You know, I knew this guy. He was a gangster, a thug, but he was scared of spiders. You know what I mean? You know, so I'm like, hey, that spider, oh man, looking like that beast on X-Men that be reading them books. But anyway, and you know, like just too big to be scared of something that little. But my mama built this pod to you know, and you know, as I was working in the garden, it reminded me of a park that my mom built in the woods, and where she made a clearing and put all kind of rides out there for the children. And it was called Kevin Street, and that's what it reminded me of as I was taking a stroll through the park, you know, where the wooded area behind my house, and I thought this was a good place to get some footage. But anyway, so you know, I mean, I remember they used to pick on my brother in school, and they would slap the back of his head to see, the juice, I guess fly off his head, and because at that time there was nowhere that you could go where somebody with a Jerry curl had not sat. It was a joke going around, about how small, my mama car was at the time, and the fact that we all had Jerry curls, even though mine was homemade, 100% pure petroleum. But anyway, because I had a, fairly good grade of hair, you know what I'm saying? All it took was a little grease and water. They asked me what I was taking on the trip. I said, water grease. When things got tight, we'd have to resort to using butter for hair grease. And I remember, boy, when that sun used to hit that butter, and we'll be outside playing, and me and my brother be like, somebody cooking breakfast.